Now, everybody, quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind, but we're going to have a show.
And good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello to all my friends in replay. I love my replayers. A lot of people join the show live, but I like the people who are kind of hanging out, waiting for the cake to be baked, and then they eat it later, you know. We've had a long conversation about whether the level of my mic and the audio coming from the studio is distorted and too loud.
Yeah, the music sounds really loud. I have to say that. Yeah, that's much better.
I just hate everything and all technical stuff today. Audio is bad, says K-Plant.
Now it's fine.
No,
a minute ago it was like,
K-Plant saying audio is hot, says Nick.
Yeah, now that you turned it down, it's okay.
I don't know what. So I've got everything barely up. I blame you, Tony. Why can you not set this thing up so
Tony.
I don't have these issues? Audio stinks, says Enid. Scratchy audio still, says Ms. Organic. It's good now, says Delette. I wish we had some way, distorted audio, says Enid. I wish we had some way to monitor it, Tony. Is there some kind of third-party monitor that you can employ, or how do you monitor the audio levels, sir?
Well, I'm having listening on my phone, literally right here. That's how I'm cheering.
Yeah, that seems pretty good. Audio is good now. Thanks, Tony.
It's better.
Yeah.
I think I.
Thanks, Tony.
I mean, we can. I mean, again, if you see the how the sausage is made, I can walk you through it right now and see if it's one problem in the computer, but or we could just do the show.
It's good now, says Dave. Whoever is producing this, Ricky says, exactly.
Whoever is producing this thing has no idea what they're doing.
Now, is that distorted, the no idea guy? Still distorted, but not quite as bad, says Key Music. I'll take it any way I can get it, says Walter. We need a little more of that.
Yeah.
We need a little more of Walter around here.
We'll keep Walter up for a minute. There you go.
I really don't understand why I can't get a little more Walter in my life from all the people I work with. I bust my ass for this show. All weekend I'm sending pieces of video, all the rest. I don't even know if they're landing with anyone because no one confirms an email. No one in my world who I work with confirms an email.
Why are you yelling?
So I don't even know if people are getting the stuff that I want to run this, I'll probably run that. Anyway, got it, Roger that, anything, nothing. So I come to this show every day, and it's a treasure hunt. Maybe I'll find the stuff that I sent, maybe I won't.
Sorry, Mark.
I don't know. They do this.
You know, they do this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell they do it for.
Casey gets it. JR put me in a better head. How about JR?
Mm-hmm.
$25 super chat.
Big shout out.
Happy Thanksgiving, Mark, in capital letters, which means they are yelling it.
Why are you yelling?
What's on the vegan menu this year? Happy holidays to Kim, Tony, and Albert, too. Yes, we have a cruelty-free Thanksgiving at my home. The only cruelty is the conversation, but no creatures gave their lives for the meal.
So do you do like fake meat, or do you just not have any type of meat substitute, just like potatoes and whatever? What do you do?
We do both, Kim. It's a good question. We do the tofurkey. I'll just use it generically. Field roast makes an insanely good kind of roast for the holidays.
I'd come from regular stock.
I know. Even if you come from regular stock, you will enjoy it. Especially if you come from regular stock. And now Gardein makes a real good analog, kind of a roast with stuffing and cranberries, and it's really quite delicious. So we will do some of that. And then there are some terrific alternative dishes. In fact, I'll post some of them. So we'll be doing that. And then we go to a Thanksgiving that is not cruelty-free, but is a tradition. But we'll eat cruelty-free.
Right.
You know what's interesting, and then I will move on. But thank you, JR, and I'm so excited, JR. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
JR, and the rest of you, because I know you have, and we'll talk a little bit about this with Karen Dawn a little bit later in the second hour, but you know that there are no regulations of any sort when it comes to animal protection around turkeys. There are minimal around chicken, none around turkeys. It's just a weird thing.
Do you mean like the way that it's killed, or what do you mean?
The way that it's raised, killed,
okay.
They de-beak them, they cut off their beaks, they cut off their feet. They do all this stuff. So, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I do have good news. I actually wanted to start the show with good news, but before I get to it, I've got some really good stories, and I'm really some kind of good news stories, uplifting sort of holiday stories. But thank you, JR. You asked. I didn't bring it up. Delette says, send it to me. I will always answer. I don't know what that is.
When you email people and they don't respond.
Oh,
says,
I see. Yeah.
If you send it to her, she'll always give you an answer.
Delette, maybe you should be producing this show.
It's possible.
Yeah. I have to say, though, in Tony's credit, he was the one who picked up on how hot the audio was.
Yeah.
So without Tony, we would have gotten a spate of those kinds of communications. So bravo, Tony, on this one. I hate to speak to Tony's credit, but
Thanks, Tony.
But I have to. Tony, who, by the way, hustled after doing the Bill Handel show in Los Angeles to make our show. So he just kind of slid in here at the last second. So I have to ask you, Tony, you got the Trump stump speech that I sent to you? You got all that stuff that I sent to you over the weekend? Sir? Are you going to check it? Okay.
I'll get it right now. Hold on.
Yeah. Okay. See, this is what I mean, though. If I could, when I send this stuff, if I could get, some indication that you have it or some indication I got it, I'll get it. Anyway, what I wanted to mention to you is that this is a really cool show coming up. In addition to some good news, and I feel like we should do two things in this first hour. One is That's Rich, which has some really interesting stories, not celebrity real estate, some interesting other stories. Because sometimes you do like celebrity real estate, which is fun, and That's Rich. But this is sort of, one involves a discovery, one involves something really good that somebody has done, and they all involve money. Mm-hmm. We'll also talk about there's a lawsuit around Mega Millions. On a serious note, Texas is kicking science to the curb. They are yanking a bunch of textbooks in Texas that relate to the science of, if you guessed climate change, you can give yourself points. There is climate news. And in the second hour, and by the way, Courtney today has to go to a doctor's thing. That's why she's not here. But in the second hour, the much awaited, talked about, and anticipated appearance of the former Three Dog Night co-founder, Chuck Negron. He will be here with his wife, Amy, and they have a big Christmas push going, and you have to meet Chuck Negron. To me, Chuck Negron is rock and roll. First of all, Three Dog Night, huge. Three Dog Night, massive. And Three Dog Night emerging at a time when music was going through all kinds of changes. You had the rise of rock and roll, really. You had the British invasion through the 60s. You had R&B. You had all, the Motown sound, all these things happening at the same time. And Three Dog Night, top of the heap. But the thing that makes Chuck Negron, I think, particularly compelling as a story is the fact that he embodied the talent and also the decadence of the time. And the fact that Chuck Negron is standing, that Chuck Negron is still with us, is amazing and a blessing. It is a gift. So we'll talk to him to kick off the second hour. Then, as I mentioned, Karen Dawn stops through on Mondays. We'll talk about Thanksgiving, but also a lot of other stuff related to animals. I think she has some whale news as well, and so all of that. So a lot to do today. I'm glad you're here. It's our big pre-Thanksgiving week, and what can I say? The website that does our merch was kind of popping this weekend. The Get Mark merch site, yeah. So people must have been, I don't know what people were getting, but they must have maybe, cheers to everybody who's got a little bit of our merch.
We have a birthday today as well.
We do? Who is it?
It is, I believe, President Joe Biden has a birthday.
Oh, I thought one of our regular listeners, viewers.
He's 81. There he is.
Who doesn't want to celebrate his birthday in a high-profile way? If you guess Joe Biden, yeah. Ixnay on the Earth Day Bay.
81 years old, Joe Biden. Yeah.
Ixnay on the AJ. Yeah, not something he's drawing attention to. So.
The Mark Thompson Show.
All right, Tony, you'll tell us if we get too loud. We go off the tracks.
Yeah.
You still are troubled? You want me to take the levels down even further?
I don't know what's causing it without just derailing the whole fucking show. So
but do you want me just to take everything down further, sir?
It's fine. I don't think it. I don't know if it's your board. I don't know if that's the problem. So I think it's the computer itself. It's what's going on. So
you think it's my computer?
Mm-hmm.
The computer that you built for me?
Yes. That's the same as mine.
Yeah. The computer that's already completely gone belly up and melted down once, that one that you've now rebuilt, and it's a new one, you think that?
The drop is distorted, but the voice is much better. Yeah, your voice sounds fine. It's just when you play music or drops, it sounds all like
I am telling you what,
up.
Tony. I blame you 100%, Tony, for
Thanks, Tony. Bear says it's fine. People are whiners.
I love Tony. But I'm... Anyway. All right, we move on. Thank God we've got a good show. Tony, I'll let you then rally. This is what I would have talked to you about had we had any time to speak before the show began, but you had to do handle.
Traffic, yeah. Sorry.
Traffic and handle. So I need you to rally, please, a That's Rich for me, and also a Chunk of Trump for me. Those are the production elements I'll need here in the next half hour or so.
And I have all the links you sent me. I have them all queued up as well. Whatever.
Okay, great. So one of those links is the Trump stump speech, which you must hear to believe. He talks about the P tape, which is insane. So that is something that we will give you in a Chunk of Trump. If you didn't hear it, you must. I mean, unprompted. Like, no one asked him about the P tape. He brought it up on the stump. So we'll get to that.
The P tape.
And then, secondly, That's Rich. I want to do that as well.
Oh, Scott. Scott says there's no Coachella Valley coffee in the Pacific Northwest, so he's on his way back to California. Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
What?
This is disturbing in the extreme. I'm really excited about somebody else joining today that I haven't mentioned to you yet, and it's related to Coachella Valley Coffee. The lead roaster and owner of Coachella Valley Coffee joins us today. Yeah. It's a real success story, and he has a terrific kind of North Star of giving back, which is one of the great things about that coffee. But believe me, if he had only that giving back North Star and the coffee weren't great, I wouldn't recommend it. The coffee's amazing. In fact, this holiday blend, which I have here featured behind me, is what we are making right now. French press, and it's delicious.
Yeah.
It's truly delicious. I, as I say, wouldn't ever recommend something that was not. So anyway, he'll be joining us today also. We got a lot to do.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Rosalyn Carter passed away over the weekend. Sad always when somebody passes away. She also was someone who was an activist for humanitarian causes, and I think a big advocate for mental illness, to try to remove the stigma around mental illness and around those things related to mental illness. She had entered hospice care, and she was diagnosed with dementia in May, And Jimmy Carter, her husband, former president, of course, began hospice care in February following a series of hospital stays that he had. And Rosalyn Carter passes away. There she is. Again, I think a terrific legacy she had and has, because she really tried to diminish that stigma around mental illness. And she wanted everyone to have access to mental health treatment. So she had the Rosalyn Carter Institute for Caregiving at her alma mater, which is Georgia Southwestern State University. That was just to help families and caregivers living with disabilities and illnesses. And both of these people you see there, Jimmy Carter, the former president, and his wife, who's just passed away.
It's a great picture.
Yeah, they received from Bill Clinton, the then president in 1999, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. So, but I mean, it's a true love story. Those two, grew up together, married, and it's an amazing fact that they're together all the way to the end.
Yeah.
And it's a sad passing. But, it was interesting because when they were president and first lady, their daughter, Amy, was a kid. I mean, she was in school. They used to do bits on Saturday Night Live about her showing up to class with Secret Service agents and the Secret Service agents cheating for her on different exams, giving her the answers. It was kind of funny. But they made Amy very much a part of the inauguration ceremony when they were, they wanted to connect with people. It was a very different time in the chief executive history because you came out of a Nixonian imperial presidency, many would say, and you came into, it's oftentimes the way things work, right? There's a reaction to the preceding power, and it goes the other way. And this shift was associated with a more accessible president, and that's who Jimmy Carter was. And Rosalyn Carter felt very much a part of that. In any case, she passes away at 96. So sad news over the weekend.
The Mark Thompson Show.
I would also draw your attention to travel this week. Do you know how many people are traveling for Thanksgiving? I just saw the figure about a half hour ago. How many people are traveling on airplanes this weekend? This week for Thanksgiving. Is our millionaire music distorting? Tony or real? It's okay. Randy, of course, first into the chat with the right answer. 30 million, everybody, is the answer.
That's a lot.
That's a whole lot of people. And it's already a stressed system. It should be not only a stress system, but one affected by bad weather in various places. But you know how those Thanksgiving things go down? You have no choice, right? You've got to travel. That's why I always feel those of you who are single, I think you've got a leg up. I know everybody has this whole loneliness at the holidays. Give me a break, man. You got like a jillion streaming services. They're playing basketball and football on days that involve the holiday weekend, and you can just stay put if you want to. It's when you have these big families. That's when your trouble starts. But anyway, it's a great time of year, and we'll be doing some special things here to ring in the holidays. And in any case, 30 million people expected to travel this weekend. I was mentioning bad weather. You know, the wine business has been affected by extreme weather. Particularly European winemakers. They are struggling to grow grapes in Europe because of extreme and unseasonable weather. The high cost of growing the grapes and declining consumption are adding to problems with small independent wineries. This is according to the Organization for Vine and Wine. Wow, that's a business card you want. The global wine production is set to fall to its lowest level since 1961. Soaring temperatures, extraordinary flooding, all of these things are fueling that decline.
Uh-oh.
It's mostly in Italy and Spain. Those are the world's biggest and third biggest producers in 2022.
I wonder if that means the price of wine will go up in Europe. Because when I went there, I was surprised at how cheap wine was. I mean, it's less than the sparkling water sometimes at the table.
Yeah.
Just an abundance of wine.
You always wonder, when you start getting super cheap wine, you wonder if that's a good deal or if that's just, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Maybe it will cause the price of wine to rise everywhere. Output in the United States, the world's fourth largest producer, is forecast to grow 12% this year. So again, this is mostly in the European communities where there's this loss of crop. Do you hear an echo a little bit, Tony? Do you hear any of that? No?
No echo at all.
Okay, good. All right. So that's just my early dementia kicking in. Thank you. Do you hear a voice in your head that says, "You suck, Mark, you suck"?
No, I don't hear that.
I like to burn things. That's all.
All right, let's, Tony, are you ready with some That's Rich? I've got some stories that might be of interest to the boys and girls, and then the first one is a really uplifting story. So you want to give it a ride? This is That's Rich.
Who are they?
The top 1/10 of 1%.
What are they like?
These people are so posh and snobby, they're snotty.
That's Rich on the Mark Thompson Show.
Well, here it is, a little uplift for your holiday. Casey McIntyre, a cancer patient, 38 years old, ovarian cancer.
Oh, no.
Well, it gets even worse than, oh no. She passes away. So
What?
I know. Let me finish so I can get to the positive part, all right? Please, give me a chance, people. So this lovely 38-year-old got ovarian cancer, and she passed away. And before she passed away, she started a campaign to help people pay off their medical debt.
That's nice.
And in just the week that she's passed away, they had contributions of $200,000.
Wow.
She says on a social media post, "A note to my friends. If you're reading this, I have passed away. The cause was stage 4 ovarian cancer. I loved each and every one of you with my whole heart, and I promise you, I knew how deeply I was loved." So that's very moving. Even when I read it, I become emotional. Yeah. She asked for donations to a campaign to pay off medical debt for other people. So by Sunday morning, that campaign had reached nearly $220,000. Her husband of 8 years, Andrew Gregory, said of the money that had been raised so far, "We're overwhelmed. It's been really powerful to see the response to people wanting to eliminate strangers' medical debt." The campaign is on a website called RIP Medical Debt. It uses data analytics to find households with medical debt that have income below 4 times the federal poverty level or have debts that make up 5% or more of their annual income. So the organization buys debt in bundles at a steep discount, which means each donation relieves about 100 times its value in medical debt. So in general, $1 donated does get rid of $100 of medical debt. And again, when the funds raised at this point are just under $200,000, they think that this fund will probably abolish somewhere in the neighborhood of $19 million worth of medical debt. So that's extraordinary.
That's Casey pictured right there. What a lovely thing for her to do on the way out, you know?
Exactly. As far as a fundraiser, I don't know if we've ever seen something something kind of, this is a direct quote, sorry, it may seem a little awkward. As far as a fundraiser, I don't know if we've ever seen something like this to raise as much money as Casey's campaign has, as quickly as it has. The organization has paid $10.4 billion of medical debt for more than 7 million people, according to its website. So, again, this is part of a larger website and a larger effort. But around 16 million people owe at least $1,000 in medical debt, while around 3 million people owe more than $10,000, according to recent surveys. And so this will have a huge impact. And this sweet person whose life was stolen from her by cancer at age 38 has this wonderful legacy. And by the way, I believe she has a daughter. I'm fairly certain. So if you want to, there you go. Yeah, she has a daughter. And if you want to see more on that, you can find it. And maybe you want to be part of that. Meantime, on the other side of That's Rich, Mega Millions jackpot winner is suing his daughter's mom for telling his parents about his life-changing $1.35 billion windfall. She signed an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. And he is the unidentified winner of the second largest Mega Millions jackpot. And now he is suing the mother of his daughter for violating their non-disclosure agreement and telling his parents about the $1.35 billion win. He didn't want his own parents to know about the fact that he was newly wealthy.
And you know what happened when they were told? They turned around and told everybody else, including his sister. Didn't want her to know either.
That's why he didn't want anybody to tell him. Because you know them, they're blabbermouths. New court filings revealed that the Maine Man prize winner, M-A-I-N-E, it's in Maine, right? Sued the mother of his daughter, she's identified as Sarah Smith, for a 6-figure compensation deal after revealing to his family his new millionaire status. He was the lucky winner of that Mega Millions ticket, and he took home his winnings in a one-time payment, about $500 million after taxes. He would have been $52 million richer if he bought the ticket just a mile away over the New Hampshire border where the taxes aren't as bad. But shortly after that, the wife signed a non-disclosure agreement to keep his identity as the jackpot winner a secret until their daughter turns 18 years old. She didn't keep it a secret, and now he is suing for violation of that agreement. And according to the lawsuit, he learned that she disclosed his status as a newly rich guy to the father and stepmother over one or more telephone communications. And that disclosure may cost her money. He's suing her for $100,000.
I heard that he took a lot of precautions to protect his identity. He formed an LLC before he came forward and claimed his money. He really didn't want anyone to know that it was him that won.
I mean, I get it, right? Yeah. All of a sudden people come out of the woodwork, and it's hard to say no sometimes.
And he only told the ex-wife because they share custody of a child, and he felt like there was increased security costs, right? Because when you have $1 billion, people might come and try to take your kid or whatever. So he wanted to pay his ex-wife money and give her, increased security at her home. And so he had to tell her, and apparently she's the only one he told.
And, you just can't trust anybody. Lori's got a narrative. You don't know his family, Mark. Maybe alcoholic, addicts, abusive, etc. There may be good reason. Wanted to support the kid, so had to tell baby mama to shut the F up. Yeah.
Why are you yelling?
I'm with you, Lori. You don't know what's going on with these people. Wise financial decisions, says Champagne. So, meantime, on the other side of That's Rich, I conclude with this. The hat worn by Napoleon. How much did it get at auction? The hat worn by Napoleon, what did it get at auction? The black bicorn hat. You know, normally, at the time, that hat, there it is, was worn with the tips in front and in back. But that's not the way Napoleon wore it, right?
Right.
The two-cornered hat worn by Napoleon Bonaparte during his reign as French emperor. He wore it where the tips were over the shoulders. It has just sold at auction, one of 20 that survived the French military commander's reign.
So he had 20 hats?
Kim, you're emperor. You got to have a bunch of hats.
So it's one of 20. Huh,
and he also
right.
by the way, he had way more than 20. He had 120, but only 20 survived.
Okay.
14 million, says SF Tesla. Linda says 723,000. 2.1 million, says Chico.
I'm going to go with 2.1.
You're going to go 2.1? 11.2.
Yeah.
Lee says 2.1. Harry says 2.1. It's starting to feel like somebody Googled something because it's feeling very 2.1. 2.7, says Brian. I'll need Kim to do the conversion, please, Kim. The answer is 1.9 million euros, which converts to what, Kim, please? I believe it'll be close to 2.1. I think that 2.1 may win.
1.9 million euros is $2.08 million.
I'm going to give it to 2.1. Yeah, those people clearly saw the story.
2.8. 2.08.
Yeah, there you
which
go.
Is kind of 2.1.
Very well done. Look at that. Tony rallying the...
Well, way to go, Tony.
Yeah, Tony. Very nicely done.
Thanks, Tony.
Most of the remaining Napoleonic bicorn hats still in existence are held in museums. Only 5 are in private collections. So, again, it was in possession of the same family, this hat, through the 19th century. The descendants passed it down. And in private, it said, he either had it on his head or in his hand. Sometimes he threw it on the ground. It was the emperor's hallmark, said one historian. It has now been sold for close to $2.1 million, and that's rich for today. Now you play.
More on how the other half lives
These people aren't just rich, they're crazy rich.
next time on the Mark Thompson Show.
Well done. So there's some good news in That's Rich, a lawsuit in That's Rich, and then finally the Napoleonic era hat.
You know what you need? A nice, big, long drink of coffee.
I do. Now, Kim, do you want to bring Cliff on now, or do we...
Let's do it now.
All right, let's do it. Look, I've told you before, I've had coffee all over the world. I've had coffee in Vietnam, and I've had coffee in Croatia, in Italy, in Paris, in London. Many people have watched this show, or even more in the way of traveling, and I know you live life to the fullest. But I mention that because when I say that this is the best coffee I've ever tasted, I've got a pretty good reservoir of experience drinking coffee, and I like it rich and dark. And you can find, what's the problem, Tony?
It says he's not connected, so you might need to reconnect because I can't even put him on right now. He's
okay.
But I can't put him on. So if you can.
After that introduction, he's not ready to go.
You know, they do this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell they do it for.
What's going on today?
He's good now.
I give this guy the ramp up of ramp ups.
Why are you yelling?
And all right. Please welcome from Coachella Valley Coffee. And now I see that he's not connected again. I don't know. He's having some issues. All right. I love it. We get it, Mark. You travel. Who said that? Oh, Pinky.
What?
Pinky, I was trying to contextualize, which is a ding word, my coffee drinking experience. I'm not gonna cry, Tony, but I am.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
I'm close to crying tears of frustration today. I feel like this is another level of frustration.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
Would you like to do a little news and then?
I would like to do news. Get with Cliff. Get his connection clean, so that we can talk some Coachella Valley coffee. If you can't get it clean today, let's move it to tomorrow and do it tomorrow, rather than spend 9 minutes talking about, we got him, we don't have him, whatever. So I'll send you his number, and you can maybe reach out to him that way as well. Smash the like button. I don't know why you would.
Your iron rod.
I mean, but we're trying very, very hard to bring you the fun. This is the thing. I talked to you about this stuff before. You can have all the right ingredients. Then you put the cake in the oven, and somehow when it comes out, and so it happens.
The souffle has collapsed.
At least the Niners won this weekend, everybody. Niners in a dominating win. It was very, very good. So we're happy about that. Tony will work with Coachella Valley coffee people. Meantime, you smash it
with your iron rod.
Smash it with your iron rod. And we've got a lot of show. Chuck Negron from Three Dog Night in the next hour, along with Karen Dawn on Thanksgiving and more. Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
On the Mark Thompson Show, I'm Kim McAllister. This report sponsored by Coachella Valley Coffee at CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. Let's talk about the death of former First Lady Rosalyn Carter. She will be laid to rest next week. She passed away at the age of 96 on Sunday afternoon after being diagnosed with dementia in March. The Carter Center announcing ceremonies celebrating the life of Rosalyn Carter will be held starting November 27th in Georgia. The public will be able to pay their respects as she lies in repose at the Jimmy Carter Presidential Library and Museum in Atlanta that night. The United States Supreme Court is rejecting an appeal by a former police officer that has been charged and convicted of killing George Floyd. That means Derek Chauvin, his second-degree murder conviction and sentence will be upheld. Chauvin's legal team tried to argue that he was denied a fair trial due to prejudice and publicity surrounding that case. That is a no-go. Another case being followed by a lot of people, the judge in the Brian Kohberger trial has ruled media will not be allowed to use cameras in the courtroom during future proceedings. Defense attorneys argued the press failed to follow the court's directive to avoid exclusively showing the defendant. Kohberger charged in the murders of 4 University of Idaho students last year. Most Americans are hoping to avoid politics at the Thanksgiving dinner table. Yes, they are. This is according to, we know why, Trump. A new poll, a Quinnipiac University national poll, shows more than 60% of Americans would rather not talk about the subject. On the other hand, just under 3 in every 10, 3 out of 10, say they look forward to discussing politics this holiday. Law enforcement in Sacramento on high alert after a threat made against one of this year's biggest events. November 13th, the Sacramento Police Department received a forwarded email containing a bomb threat against the upcoming Run to Feed the Hungry that's held on Thanksgiving Day in Sacramento. After receiving the email, Sacramento police immediately contacted the FBI as well as the event organizer, just out of caution. Sac PD says they will have increased patrols at the event. Police are urging people to remain vigilant there, follow instructions from law enforcement personnel, and report any suspicious activity. There's a prosecutor suing her employer, Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gascon. Deputy DA Attorney Amy Pellman-Pence alleges Gascon withheld a decision not to file charges in a high-profile use of force case for political purposes. Pellman-Pence says that in doing so, Gascon impacted the re-election bid of former Sheriff Alex Villanueva. The DA's office has not commented on this suit. Pellman-Pence spent 3 years with the Justice System's Integrity Division, which reviews complaints against alleging government corruption and improper use of force by law enforcement. Actor Wayne Brady is recovering after getting into a car accident that ended with a fight in California. Brady's car apparently hit by another vehicle in Malibu on Sunday night. When Brady and the other driver pulled over, the two got into an altercation that turned physical. The other driver fled after the fight when Brady called police, and that person was eventually arrested for battery, DUI, and hit and run. Brady is reportedly just a little banged up and taking it easy for the time being. Man, imagine someone hits you, you pull to the side, and they're just a drunk mess who comes out swinging? That sounds like what happened. I don't know.
It's awful, and celebrities are the last thing this country has, Kim, and I'm saddened when any celebrity is threatened. Absolutely awful.
Why are you yelling?
Lastly, a Tesla shareholder is calling on the company's board of directors to suspend Elon Musk for endorsing anti-Semitic ideas on social media. Jerry Brockman wants the board to make it clear Musk is in the wrong for agreeing with an anti-Semitic post on X. The president of First American Trust, Brockman, said in a statement that while he believes in free speech, there is no excuse for spreading hatred by the CEO of a public company. No.
But what did I tell you? And it was in the New York Times today, and I've said it now for months. I've said, as much as Elon Musk is despicable, and as much as he says despicable things and does despicable things, and I know many of you will say, oh, he's a mixed bag, Mark. He does good. And he's okay. But the anti-Semitism, can we agree? It's despicable. And that you would have that on your platform, which has become this cesspool of grotesque hate, is despicable. But as I've said, you can wave your finger at him if you're the U.S. government. You can issue statements against him if you're the issue of the U.S. government. But these calls to pull out of various government, forget it. No one's pulling out any government contracts with SpaceX, with any of the other Musk companies, Starlink, et cetera. And the reason for that is we become too dependent on it. And so even today, there's a long write-up about how there are new U.S. contracts being made, and the prior ones are being honored with Musk. Even as, you know, the right hand is reprimanding him, the left hand is making deals. So those are the realities around Elon Musk. It's a complicated picture.
This report is sponsored by Coachella Valley Coffee. That's right. CoachellaValleyCoffee.com is the website. When you check out, if you go take a look at the delicious coffees, including the holiday blend, and I would argue the teas are amazing. Oh, yes. Wonderful to have on hand for people as well. Check out CoachellaValleyCoffee.com and you get the 10% off for being a Mark Thompson Show listener. It is Mark T all together at checkout for your 10% off at, again, CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. I'm Kim McAllister. This is The Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
It was great. I loved it.
How would you handle this? We could try ignoring it, sir.
Morning.
You cannot say you love your country.
Where are my weed smokers at?
Stay at home and get baked.
Yeah, we are sliding through the first hour and ready to begin the second hour in a few minutes. Chuck Negron from Three Dog Night and Amy, his wife, they've got a big holiday thing coming. We're excited to talk to him. But before that, this has taken some effort to connect technically with this guy. But he is the lead roaster and owner of the finest coffee producer in the world, Coachella Valley Coffee. Here he is, Cliff, everybody. Look at you. We finally got it worked out. How are you?
I'm in the third office over here now.
Well, however it happened, it's nice that you're with us. And I was talking.
There's nothing in the background.
Yeah, it has a very it has a booking photo kind of look to your background. You know, it could double as a right. Hey, Cliff, tell everybody. You know, it's really a great one of the things I like about your story. In addition to the coffee being so good, I mean, it's all hand roasted, and we'll get to that in a second. But you know, you have really made a point of seeding a lot of these small farms and these farms and businesses run by women across the world. And that's turned into some robust coffee growers, and they supply a lot of the beans that go through Coachella Valley Coffee.
Yeah, when I first went to Oregon or visited a farm, in 1999, I always am looking for ways to give back to my community. Well, my community is just a little bit larger than the Coachella Valley. It dips into Guatemala and Nicaragua. But my first trip down to Nicaragua, I sponsored a school, and we would buy the kids uniforms, and it sounds like I have loads of money in my pocket, but for me to buy a kid a uniform with shoes, it's $17, and to pay the teacher's salary for a year, it's less than $1,000. But my whole thing with this is I'm supposed to take care of my community, and so we were doing this. Then I realized that if I want to take care of a family, I need to get the money to the matriarch, get the money to the female, because she'll always take care of the kids first. She'll always take care of the family first. Unlike some of us men, we get lost on the way home if we have an extra couple of bucks in our pocket. So I started really focusing on women-owned farms, or farms ran by women. And as long as they do certain things, we ask them to give the workers during harvest 3 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, take-home dinner. Give the kids free education, free medical for the family. But I can't expect them to do that unless I'm paying more for the coffee. So we always pay double. And I do it. It's kind of selfish of me. I do it because I want that great coffee farmer to stay in business. But it's a win-win all the way around, because they are taking care of their workers. Everybody wins, because the farm or the workers picking the coffee, that's the hardest part of this whole coffee equation. Mine, I'm just putting, green beans in a little machine and turning them brown. I'm just cooking the coffee. I'm not having to pick it. And I'm sure I've mentioned before, each coffee bean is touched by a human at least 6 times before I get it. So I have to make sure that part of my equation, that part of my business, that they're taken care of. And it just works. A couple of years ago, I kept seeing everybody touting, "Oh, we buy from women-owned farms." So I said, gosh, I kind of always have. Maybe I'll just put that on my website. I have great relationships with my farmer. Usually the first Sunday of the month, the first couple hours in the morning is when I'm talking with the farmers. These are my friends, and it just works.
That's terrific. And as I say, were it just that, it would be laudable, but it wouldn't necessarily be the coffee that I buy all the time. It's right. The fact that the coffee is so delicious. So let's go now from those bean harvests and those farmers to the process. You hand roast all this coffee, right?
Yeah, everything we bring in, we roast in small batches. My batches are right now 10 pounds. By the time it's roasted, I end up with about 8.5 pounds. And so when we're pushing, I don't want to brag, but this month we'll probably do 4,500 pounds. So there's a lot of hours standing there at the roaster. We've got a new machine coming online that'll cut that dramatically down. But everything we do is with these little hands. And, when I learned to roast 28 years ago, it was standing next to the old timers like Alfred Pete. And it was nose and ears, smelling what's going on with that coffee and listening, because the coffee is expanding, or we call it cracking, as it heats up. And the coffees have about 2% natural sugar in them. So a computer that runs most roasters now can't smell sugars. That's where these old noses come in handy. So my job as a roaster is really finding that sweet spot in the coffee. And it changes day to day, depending on the humidity outside. Everything roasts different. So it's some days when I get here at 3:30, I go, man, this sucks. But the first batch comes out, I said, man, this is good. How did you come up with this holiday blend, which I think is terrific? And I usually I like the really dark, edgy stuff normally, but man, this is delicious. I always try to create something with our favorite coffees. Right now, I've got a really nice crop from Lucia, my female El Salvadorian farmer, and she's always been my biggest purchases the last couple of years. And her coffees are really, really rated high. But we have such a nice relationship, she'll save bags for me. So I wanted to focus on her coffees, but then I wanted to add something else to it. So it's about 80% of an El Salvador and then 20% of a Ethiopian Yirgacheffe, because I really like the fruity notes that pushes out to it. I just like a coffee that tastes different. I go, this is nice.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm really amazed, actually, that I love it so much. But just because I'm, usually I kind of get on a vibe, and I just go for that vibe all the time.
Right.
So somebody's asking, we got to wrap up. Lori says, how much, without, just in general, whether we helped you or not, this is a question. How much did sales increase after starting to advertise on this show? Lori
Online
asks.
sales, it's easy to say I'm up about 700%.
Wow, that's unreal.
No, that's you, your listener, Cheryl. She's texting me now. She's trying to order K-Cups, but you have an amazing audience. They understand quality. They don't balk about the price. And it's just a win-win-win.
Well, we talk, and I've mentioned a couple of times just in our last minute, the fact that you can find less expensive beans because of all the ways that beans are sold. Sometimes, talk about the grow, because all of your stuff is the first cut or fresh grow, right?
Right. We always use fresh crop. I could get coffee half the price or a quarter of the price I'm paying because I could buy last year's crop. I could buy old crop. That's not why I'm in business. I want to create something that I'm proud of. And I know I've lost some big contracts because my price is my price. And I have to keep it there because I have farmers to pay for. My employees are taken care of. I'm the owner and I drive the 20-year-old car, but that's fine. I sleep well.
Yeah. Well, we love it. We love your holiday blend. And again, we love the fact that our listeners get a 10% discount on anything on the site. Again, there is I think this is coming off your Instagram. Tony's kind of rallying some of the stuff off your IG, but it's really great. This new crop from Brazil, and it's so exciting to see all the ways you've expanded and done well, and we're so happy and proud to be part of it. Again, Kim, can you put up the banner? There's the holiday blend.
And we did add, by popular demand of your folks, we have a tea subscription now. We have a 6 months coffee subscription, a 6 month decaf coffee subscription, and now we've added a loose leaf tea subscription. Oh,
that's cool. So just in the last 30 seconds here, tell me the subscription so I can subscribe to the coffee or tea.
6 month coffee subscription, you get a 2-pound bag every month, usually our sunrise blend, unless there's one you like. Of course, we'll customize it. Then a 12-ounce bag of something new that I have coming in. Right now, we have a new Papua New Guinea. So we send you that. So we also have a 5-pound bag subscription service, $600. You get the 5-pound bag. It's about 30% off of the normal website price. And I think the tea 6 months is only $99. You get 2 bags of tea, which will make 18 to 30 cups per bag every month. So we're trying to cover all the bases. And so the tea is a coffee. I custom blend every drop of tea.
Just terrific. So this is a real boutique spot for some of the great tea and coffee you'll ever taste. Courtney loves the tea. I know Kim loves the tea.
I do. What's your favorite? What's your favorite kind of tea? Is what I
love the ginger mint right now because it's.
I love that one. That's my favorite. How's the vanilla?
It's an Egyptian ginger, and then we put mint root in it. The vanilla is one of my best sellers.
Okay.
It is. You can smell that vanilla bean.
Okay. Nice.
Well. You do all the right things and you come up with all the right product. And we're so proud that we have a partnership with you, CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. And when you check out, use the code MARKT for 10% off. Grab a coffee subscription, grab a tea subscription, and stay in touch with us, Cliff. And happy holidays to you.
We're humbled and blessed. Thank you very much.
Okay, my friend. Cliff, everybody from Coachella Valley Coffee. Love it.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Very cool that we had a chance to visit with someone that a lot of people ask about. So there you have it. Coming up, I've got from 3 Dog Night, Chuck Negron and his wife Amy. They've got a big push for holidays. My favorite Christmas ornament, by the way, it's my favorite. I've got a lot of Christmas ornaments. You can imagine, a man of my stature. I've collected many Christmas.
Do you know who I am?
I'm just
kind of a big deal.
I'm a big Christmas ornament guy, but my favorite is the Chuck Negron Christmas ornament. So I'll share it with you when we bring Chuck on.
Do you have a Christmas tree or a holiday tree full of just celebrity ornaments? Is that, if I'm imagining the Mark Thompson tree, is it just like faces across the tree?
It's fantastic.
It is in a separate area from the main house where we can bring in the celebrity Yuletide. Can't have it cross-pollinate with the world of civilians, Kim. You probably don't understand this because, honestly, you haven't reached a level of luminescence in the world of celebrity the way myself and others have. And I'll be honest, I reached it and I've kind of fallen back into the pack a bit, but I still celebrate celebrity, as you're well aware.
Yes, yes.
And so, yes, my tree is a shrine to celebrity and show business, everyone. Yes, it is. So Chuck Negron, you can imagine, fits right into that. He's been at the tippity top of the music business. I do have a super chat, and I'll quickly add it. Pamela, thanks, Cliff, for making great coffee, taking care of the growers, and standing firm on the price and the quality of the beans. Yeah, huge shout out, Pamela.
Big shout out.
You get it. Really true. You see that, here you are. I have 2 Chuck Negron ornaments on my tree, says Kim.
What? That's not me.
And that's somebody who is masquerading as you.
And they spelled my name wrong, so
there's
right away.
There's an extra C that has to go in there.
That's right.
Very
nice try, though, Kim McAllister. I see what you're trying to do there.
I am. I like that you tried to perpetrate a kind of hoax in a way, but it didn't work.
Ooh, it's a wild idea, but it
didn't work. You got to spell the name right for the hoax to work. All right, Kim, can I get to Chuck and Amy, or how do you want to do this?
You could do news. You could go to them. It just doesn't matter. I'm with you.
I see Chuck standing by. Let me get into some. Let me get my Negron on.
Yeah.
And then you can do news after this. Super.
Like it.
All right. Smash the like button like a boss, if you would. Smash it.
Smash it with your iron rod.
Yeah. Give us a thumbs up and let's get into it. Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
The tippity top of music in the 60s and 70s. You found one band that just was on every radio station, so many hits that continue to endure today. I'm talking about Three Dog Night. And one of the 3 dogs is this guy whose personal history, I think, is even more compelling maybe than the amazing ride he took in the world of music and the amazing contributions he's made to music. But when you put it all together, wow. Extraordinary. How about it for Chuck Negron?
Hey.
What's up, man?
How you doing, Mark? Good to see you.
It's good to see you. Chuck's
Kim
Mick. Yeah. Kim McAllister, say hello to Chuck Negron. It's a
Hi,
treat
Chuck
to have him on the
Negron.
show.
What an honor to meet you.
Hi, Kim McAllister.
Hi.
Yeah.
How are you, dear?
Good. Happy holidays to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Chuck, you have
right here.
You have this is the Chuck Negron Christmas ornament, which I keep close because every holiday I break it out. You can see it there. That's Chuck and all. Look at that guy. You were the very embodiment of 60s and 70s rock and roll. And your book, oh man, your book, Three Dog Nightmare, which you have since its original publication, you've added to it, like, extra stuff because you've done so much since those days. But man, you took the highest highs and the lowest lows, and you came out thriving. It's a remarkable story.
Yeah, no, Mark, I was really very fortunate that that there was places for me to go to safe havens to and learn about life without drugs. And I was really fortunate to find a place that actually was there a year. And this is not an interesting thing, but an important thing. It's very hard for someone to go into rehab that has used drugs and for years. And a lot of people just are on medication for years that isn't good for them. And to go in for 30 days and come out and think you're going to be okay. So I was in a place that, they kept me there a year and, changed my life.
Yeah,
Cry Help was the name.
Yeah, say it again. What was the name of it?
With 2 C's. It was Cry Help.
2 C's. My memory of you from the book, of your history, and I read the book years ago, but I love your story, and you know how your story, to me, and maybe I love it for reasons that you wouldn't appreciate always. There it is, Three Dog Nightmare. But when I say you wouldn't appreciate it, because I think, as I recall, you were like an amazing basketball player in high school. You were like this, out of this world basketball player. Then you were like super athlete. Then you started this band, as I recall, kind of a doo-wop sort of thing on street corners. Isn't that right, Chuck Negron?
Yeah. Well, when I was in, I was in the eighth or ninth grade. I had the opportunity to make a record, so I made a record. And back then, there weren't studios in every corner or in every house. I mean, they had to allow you in anyway. So I made a record, and then they started a doo-wop group. And I always played basketball because I was good at it and I loved it. And by the way, 16, 17, and 18 years old, I played Madison Square Garden 3 years in a row.
Wow,
that's championships as a kid from the Bronx. I mean, that's like the epitome. And then I played it 3 more times with Three Dog Nights. I'm probably the only musician the only person that's played Madison Square Garden as an athlete and a musician.
That is great. And then you take this ride up in the world of music and Three Dog Night. Where did you meet the other guys in Three Dog Night?
Well, I met Tandy at a party for Donovan Leach, and he was.
Is that Donovan? The Donovan that I know?
Donovan, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'm Hello Yellow.
Yeah, right.
really talented guy. Anyway, so yeah, we met him at a party there. Actually, the Mothers were playing. They were a bunch of guys from the Mothers were playing. They were Frank, and it was just a great party. And Danny and I became friends. And then one day he called me and said, "I got a guy here I want you to meet." And boom, Three Dog Night was started.
The thing that was the genius. We got to get Amy on too here in a second. There's Amy. Well, there's Amy. Wife Amy.
Yeah, Miss Salmon.
Yeah, you look good. You and Amy, you guys have a big thing coming up, and we'll get to it in a second. You've got your own merch, but in addition to your own merch, you have all this memorabilia. It's pretty cool what you guys have done. But just as we get into just quickly your story, Chuck, as you slide into that world of rock and roll, did things click for Three Dog Night right away? Because you guys were massive.
Yes. Well, our first record came out in '68. And then '69, we had our first a million seller #1 record. So, we had 2 singles that came out first, but they didn't kind of click. Well, one did. It went to 29. And then one, and then next one was Easy to Pardon. And then it just went. And the thing that made us so powerful and we launched so quickly was we had 2 to 3 single hits on each record. So, those records went on, and almost each album had 3 hits on it. So, so it went on to 21 top 40 hits in a row.
Ms. M says, my absolute favorite, in capital letters, Three Dog Night song to this day, Out in the Country. So beautiful. Also have always loved Pieces of April. Thank you for this wonderful music.
Thank you.
And you did that voice at the beginning of Joy to the World. Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
Yeah, well, I sing the whole song, but
I'm saying that's the thing that punches through.
Well, you know what? When I heard the song, when I first heard it was Jeremiah was a prophet, and I went, "What?" I said, "Oh, you guys playing this?" And he said, "Well, it was the lyrics were just scratch lyrics for timing." So I said, "Well, let me read them," and I liked them better. It was Jeremiah was a bullfrog. So anyway. I had the guitar player. So let's put this up as high as I can because I think this line has to be screamed. Like I think people's gonna when they hear this line, it's who says Jeremiah was a bullfrog? So anyway, it really God, that song it got played for a whole year. I hated that song. When it came on the radio, I changed the channel.
It had been played because it played so much.
Mark, but it played for you. It was so popular. We were the first group to ever be invited to the Grammys as a guest artist to sing a song that wasn't nominated. Joy of the World. Now, the very next year, it was nominated in 2 categories. So it was a whole year that song was out. It was on the Grammys 2 years in a row.
And the genius that you guys had was identifying songs like Joy to the World. You could, Eli's Coming. All of these songs that were done by other. Yeah, one. Thank you. One was the
Told Me Not to Come.
Mama Told Me to Come. One is the one that I remember, like the first early song of my childhood, where I thought, wow. Like I got the bug for that music, whatever it was. But my point is simply that you didn't write this music. You identified music that you thought the group could bring to another level.
Well, what it was, it was out of necessity because we first started writing together. We started writing, really kind of was, these songs had been with us for so many years that each guy didn't want to not bend, that's a kind of loaded thing, but we were attached to these. We were killing each other. We wouldn't change any songs. So, being a guy that came from New York, and when you recorded in New York, they sent you right to the Brill Building, and to get all the writers. So I knew that the key to success was a great song. So I went to Chuck Kay and several others. And Chuck played this new artist called Harry Nielsen. He said, this guy has a hit but he didn't write it. Everybody's talking from a movie. And Midnight Cowboy, great movie. And I started doing what I did when I was a kid. And I got all these songs in it. And the Corey said, I have some songs that I like. And we knocked the album out in 2 weeks, and so the director comes, can you do another one like this? We knocked out the second one. And then we were kind of stuck. We became these real A&R guys, and luckily we had good ears.
Yeah, it's funny as you talk about it that way, because the songs that you did and you performed actually are very different than the songs as performed by the artists, for example, who wrote them or conceived of them. I mean, you really did bring them to a new life and altitude,
Thank you. I appreciate it. I was having a dinner one evening, and in walks Harry Nielsen, George Harrison, and Richard Perry. Peter, is it Richard Perry? Yeah, the producer. And Harry walks up, and he just didn't we never met. He goes, how did you come up with changing that song that way? And I went, oh, you like it? He went, no, I don't.
Well, there you can't please
everybody. But Harry was he liked to spar. So it wasn't that he didn't like it. He just couldn't miss the opportunity to get into it. And anyway, we became good friends.
Somebody asked in the chat, how did you come up with the name Three Dog Night? Can you speak to that?
Well, it's kind of an unsavory tale. We try to stay away from that stuff.
Is it an unsavory tale? So
Three Dog Night.
Yeah.
I really don't want to tell you.
It's Googleable.
It's
Googleable.
Google it.
Okay.
Van Dyke Parks. If I don't know, Van Dyke Parks, a great artist. Produced and worked with Brian Wilson and many other, Ry Cooder, many artists. He saw an article about the Aborigines, and they live in the outback, and when it gets freezing cold, to save their dogs and themselves, they sleep with the dogs. And a very, very cold night, actually their only expression for a cold night was 3 Dog Night. That meant it was freezing. So he thought that the idea of the camaraderie and saving each other by unifying, he thought it was a very spiritual name. So he suggested it. We ran with it.
Well, here's one for you, Chuck. Cheyenne Smith says, on looks alone, Chuck's face was the handsome Sam Elliott of the day. Not to mention his voice, which is great also. Look at you, Chuck Negron.
You're very kind. Yeah, well, I'm 81 now, so
81. You and Biden.
Yeah. But that's a nice. Sam Elliott was very nice thing to say that. I like Sam Elliott.
Oh, I mean, look, you're this handsome dude, rock and roll guy. Now let me get. By the way, your face got busted up by. Was it the cops who busted it up?
Well, it was a twofold bust up. I was in a car accident. I fell asleep, and I was in a brand new Mercedes. It was I had been in the studio for 72 hours recording actually old-fashioned love song. And I fell asleep and drove into a truck. Thank God no one was hurt but me. And when the paramedics got there, the police arrived as well and followed the paramedics to the hospital. And when they said, we're going to call someone to take him home, they said, we'll take him home. And they arrested me. They thought I'd stolen the car. They couldn't see. It was actually one of them said in the deposition, I didn't like this guy because I thought he stole the car, and if he belonged to it, if he owned that car, I hated him more.
Wow. Well, yeah. Anyway, go ahead with the story. Yeah.
So anyway, so they arrested me, and I had a broken nose. My nose was broken in 3 places, was shattered.
There it is. We have a picture of it now. That's your booking photo.
Yeah. Of that evening, and my arm was broken, and when I woke up in the booking, I was tethered in handcuffs to the wall. And when I got up, stood up because I was in like a blackout. I mean, concussion. The police guy pulled me back by the chain. I had a broken arm. So I just reacted and I hit him. I mean, it's turned with a punch. And, I didn't know. This was a reaction. And they went to town on me. And it wasn't much fun.
But you went to, I mention it also because I think didn't you play like the Rose Bowl or something with that broken face?
Yeah, I played the Rose. Yeah, I want to tell you, Mark, this is when I really saw that all the people that I thought, were the father figures and, we were a team and all this stuff. I saw it change. They arrested me. They finally found me the next morning in jail. And they came and got me, took me directly to the hospital. My lawyer and I don't know who else it was. And X-ray. They started working on my nose. And the guy said, "No, this guy needs plastic surgery. I can't fix his nose." They stopped the bleeding. They set my arm, and they said his wrist is broken as well. And they started wheeling me out to get some real X-rays on my nose. And my manager came down, turned around the wheelchair and wheeled me right out of the building into a limousine, into a waiting Lear jet to take me to the show. And Doc said, he can't go on a plane. We don't know what's wrong. He's got a concussion. They just didn't care. That plane ride was terrible. The headaches, was blacking in and out. And anyway, I did the show.
Yeah, your point is the manager didn't care about your real physical condition.
He didn't care. I could have died up there.
Right.
We were going to do the show, and that was that. And I had put the band. By the way, that wasn't the night of the show. The show was the next night. They could have waited a night. But he wanted to get me there just to show I was there. So it was about pleasing the promoters and everything, because they could have waited a night and had me all that stuff taken care of. But he didn't. They were shot. Anyway.
No, so you were the money. They wanted the money.
Yeah. I realized. This is hardball. I've done this to myself. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're gonna hope someone's gonna help you out because you're on your own.
You got so deeply into drugs, Chuck Negron. It really effed you up for a while. Your story is a story of redemption. Your story is a story about coming back from that. But you really did hit the lowest lows. When did you get into that? Like, how did it happen with the success, with the money, with the first single? When did drugs become so much a part of your life that it began to, like, what was your first exposure, and then when did it begin to blunt your success?
Well, at the parties, there was some drugs. I had never drank or smoked. I was I went through college. I mean, when I was through the night, I'd never gotten a high. I mean, you know, when we first started, I'd never gotten a high. I was, you know, I was an athlete. Still was playing ball when I could on the weekends. Anyway, we started, you know, taking drugs. And I would take, you know, a pill here or this or that with the guys. And then one night, early in our career, these three girls walked up to me at a show. And, you know, I'm just a nice guy. Hi, how you doing? Hey, and, you know, they looked at me like I was a leper, and they thought, God, he's just a nice guy. Let's go. And they wanted me to be a rock and roller,
a party boy,
party boy. And they actually, so for me, and this is a true story. I'm not blaming it on this, but this is one of the things. For me to be able to get into that mode, to be around the girls, have sex, all that stuff, I had to get high. I couldn't do it. It wasn't in my nature. It's, you know, and, you know, finally I worked that out for sure. I worked it out. And, you know, but yeah, that was one of the reasons. And then, of course, my body loved it. It lit me up. I mean, I was an accident waiting to happen. And I'll tell you that I loved it. I love being high. And so I, you know, quickly got addicted. And then it was a whole nother thing. You know, the days of enjoying it are gone. You're just doing it to maintain.
You tell stories of being so addled by this that not only affected your ability to, you know, to show up to life, but that you gave away, $1 million homes and, to some drug dealer for $73,000 is kind of what I remember.
I actually had a condo in Beverly Hills. I mean, you know, it's 3 stories. Right. The main one was 2 stories, had an elevator in it. It was the first condo, 2 stories, had an elevator. So anyway, all I could get was $35,000. That's cash, and that's what we're so desperate. My share for $35,000. That was millions of dollars because I wanted the money right then. You know, it goes on and on. Hey, listen, Mark, there was a time that I lived in a friend's closet, and that's where he kept his insulation. So I was constantly getting, you know, those little shards of the insulation stuff. And I lived in his closet, this little closet, because I had no place to go. And finally, he kicked me out of there. I mean, you know, I heard him one day going, someone said, hey, you still see Chuck? And I'm going, yeah, Chuck's in the closet. And I go, that's great. And he goes, oh, he's right there. He'll say hi. And he opened the closet, and I heard the conversation. Hi, man. Yeah. That's what it's
unreal. Unreal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's all downhill from there. I mean, you know, it's
hard to imagine more downhill from there. I mean,
I'm 6'1", usually 185. I'm about 197 now. And, you know, I got to cry help in 1991, 126 pounds with 15 teeth. That's how I showed up.
And the drug that did that was heroin, or what was
heroin?
it?
Yeah. You graduate, you go on and, on and on from one drug to the other. And finally it was heroin. And, it took over my life. I was insane. Let me tell you a story and I hope I'm not taking too much time.
This is great. Fascinating. Please.
But, I was sick, and it was, shortly before I went into cry help, and I was driving to my deal, and I was late, and I was short. The money was short, so I knew it was going to be a hassle. Plus, I'm late, and I come to the stop sign. I don't want to stop, but this woman is crossing, so I have to stop. This old woman, she's really slow, and as she goes by me, a car runs the red light and hits her, and she goes flying to the middle of the road. The guy gets out of his car. He tries to run to help her, and he can't run. His legs collapse because he's in such shock, and he crawls to her, and he's screaming, oh, my God, what have I done? He's trying to help her, and I looked, and I drove away. And I was numb. I was dead. And that haunts me because of the thing that I embraced the most in my 32 years of recovery is that I feel and I care, and I would never give up that contact with people in life and seeing, smell the flowers and all that stuff, because drugs you're dead. You're just breathing.
Wow. It's so bizarre because I know how much you do cherish people now for these decades that you've been clinging,
Yeah. And I want to know, I don't know what happened to that woman, and I never went back and never asked. It was terrible. You just, anyway, so.
Yeah, that's but that's the power of substance abuse and how it can completely derail your values, your life. So you got clean, and I want to bring in your lovely wife because, like all rock and rollers, and you are again one of the original greats. Chuck Negron married someone gorgeous and younger, which is the thing you got to do. Amy, where did you guys meet?
Oh, well, we met because I was looking for someone who had kicked an addiction of that level, because I was unfortunately dating someone trying to help them get clean from heroin. I've never done drugs in my life, so I was way over my head. And someone told me about Chuck. So I reached out to him. I'm like, hey, can maybe I have my boyfriend at the time come to a meeting with you? Maybe you can.
I see. You were looking for counsel and a way to connect your boyfriend with somebody. I'm sorry. Now I get it. Go ahead. Yeah.
And so then when, one day I just thought, why am I waiting for this man to become man? This man already is. And so I upgraded.
Wow. Yeah. And it's been pretty great. You guys have been together for how long now?
Well, almost 13 years.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, it's something that you guys have done, which I've really gotten a kick out of, is the way you've kind of taken some of the memorabilia and some of the stuff of Chuck's life and turned it into merch of one sort or another. And you now have this relationship with his fan base, and it's increasing, and you platform this stuff. Tell me about Chuck's autobiography is riveting. It says, a miracle he survived, and so thankful he did, says Rain. Yeah, it really is. Tell me about this new platform where a lot of this Chuck Negron and Three Dog Night memorabilia exists.
Sure. So we sell on a platform called Whatnot. It's a live shopping platform. You guys may be familiar with live shopping or not, but basically the seller is on the screen showing you items in real time, and you get to bid on the items and engage with the seller and learn about the products. So
is that a Chuck? That's a Chuck doll?
This is a Christmas Chuck Negron. He's still in progress, but this is a vintage doll head that I added Chuck's style to. I'm a doll artist, and so I make these vintage style cone dolls. And this is a Chuck Negron one. Now, when he's completed, he'll be holding like a Joy to the World little album, and Chuck will sign it. So it'll be a signed art piece.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah. So I tapped into the vintage resellers community over on Instagram, which then branched over into YouTube. There's a whole vintage community here doing live sales. And I started creating my own little cone dolls by sourcing vintage doll heads and giving them a body and an accessory and a whole new life. So Whatnot popped up last year, and I thought, wow, this is all automated, because the live sales here on YouTube, you have to literally type in like your bid and all of this craziness. So on Whatnot, it's all automated. It's just like eBay, but live. And I'm like, if I can bring all of my vintage reseller community over to Whatnot, we can make this platform work for us. So we did that. And then I brought Chuck in. And so we sell vinyl records. Chuck creates digital art that we frame and he signs. I create one of a kind items like the Christmas Chuck. I've got the ornaments that Chuck will sign.
I love the ornament. Oh, well, that's a different ornament than the one I have.
Yeah, these are in the works. We still have to get a signature.
I have that one.
Add the bow
you can see that one.
And stuff. But sometimes I make posable Chuck dolls.
Oh, that's a great one. Are you kidding? I must have a posable Chuck doll. Absolutely must have it.
He's wearing Chuck's clothes. I cut these from clothes that Chuck no longer wanted. I'm like, don't give those to Goodwill. I need them for doll clothes.
So the actual clothes that Negron wore,
Yes.
those make that. What is Chuck holding? That looks like a Captain Crunch doll.
Yosemite Sam.
Oh, Yosemite Sam.
Yeah, Chuck used to have his Yosemite Sam shirt, so I made a Yosemite Sam wearing a Chuck shirt.
Oh, that's terrific. I love it.
But if you come over to my Instagram, which is listed here, right here.
Do you see it, Tony? Can you?
Amy's Rock and Pop Shop.
Tony's got it. Tony's going to pull it up for you.
You can find the link to Whatnot, and if you join Whatnot through my referral link, you get $15 off your first purchase, which you can spend on Chuck's show or any. You can do lots of Christmas shopping, finding one-of-a-kind gifts. The vintage community curates the best vintage items, and it's so much fun. There's handmade, there's vinyl records, there's all kinds of stuff on Whatnot.
That's really cool. I just wanted to mention. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
No, I was just going to mention that we'll put it in the in the description of the show. So if you're missing it now or you can't get it down, don't worry. We'll have a hot link in the description of the show to get to Amy's Rock and Pop. Is it Rock and? Is that what it is? Rock and Pop Shop.
Rock and Pop Shop, and the Whatnot link where you guys can save. So Chuck is having a big Black Friday sale on Whatnot at 4:30 Pacific on Black Friday. And it's usually around an hour and a half, and he tells stories. We do all his merch. We're going to have Black Friday deals. We put his book on sale for $25 signed. We do $10 CDs, and then we have all kinds of fun one-of-a-kind items. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And then when his show ends, we're going to do what's called a raid, and we're going to send everybody over to my show, which is a fast-paced 30-minute show where I'm going to have all my little Christmas dolls.
Oh, I love that one.
And it's really fun. So I hope you guys can tune in and join us. And
totally on Friday, and we'll have a link to it.
Oh yeah.
There it is, Black Friday
it's
extravaganza.
A marathon of vintage all weekend long on Whatnot. It's going to be from Black Friday all the way through Cyber Monday, and it's 30-minute vintage resellers giveaways every half hour. We'll have giveaways on Chuck's show as well, so be sure to tune in. Even if you don't want to shop, it's so much fun to hang out and engage in the chat and enter the giveaways and just see the nostalgia. It's just so much fun.
Love it. Well, I am, first of all, so in awe of what Three Dog Night did, the contributions to the evolution of music at the time. Wow. And apparently we're learning in the chat that you're a real doll maker. So this is yeah. So you're
she's got stuff in retail. I mean, she's hot. She's just, besides being hot, she's hot. She has a real following. And she's kind of squeezed me in this little thing, so I can be a part of it. That's all. Look at all the stuff.
Yeah, this is the season for you too. This has to be your Super Bowl season, Amy.
It is.
Yeah.
Very all day, Mark. I don't even see her. She works all day.
That's terrific. I mean, you're lucky. You're lucky.
Mark, let me say one last thing. For the people that are concerned. I'm not doing this because I have to do it. I mean, this is not changing my life financially. I mean, I'm fine. We're all fine. Right. I'm doing this because I want to be involved with my life, and I'm 81 years old, and I can do whatever I want. You know what I mean? I'm not worried about my career and how it looks. I'm having fun, and it's with my wife. My daughter is right. Come here. It's my daughter helps us.
That's so cool. Your daughter, who is this? The singer? Hello. And she's a singer too, right?
Oh yeah. She's on. She's wearing a mask because of my lungs. I'm so fragile.
Right.
That because she just came in from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so cool.
She's on an album. Yes.
Yeah, you did an album together. Exactly.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. But more importantly, she just graduated the pool. And what was your major? Tell me.
Psychology. So
all right.
Different route than that.
Yeah, different.
But yeah, still appreciate it all.
Well, after you get done with your dad, get your ass over here to help with my psychological issues, which are getting worse by the day. But I'll tell you that. But Chuck, your stories in your book, they take you through the decadence, and they also take you through the rebirth. It's and you tell a lot of them live, and I think it's great. I'm glad you made the last point, which is, hey, Chuck doesn't need the money. Chuck did very well. This is what he wants to do, and I love that you're just sort of you're flexing now in any way you want here as you get into your 80s. Really cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Amy, good luck on this. As I say, we'll have a hot link in our description to the discount, to everything. We'll make sure people who want to check it out and join you on Friday will be able to. And Chuck, you know I adore you, pal. I think you're the greatest. Mark. So love that you're.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah,
Thank
great
you.
visit. Come visit again, guys.
We will. Thank you.
Happy Kim, say goodbye to rock and roll legend, Chuck Negron.
Bye, Chuck. Bye, Amy.
Bye, Amy.
Happy holidays, you guys. Cute dolly.
Thank you, too. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
The Mark Thompson Show.
That's so much fun. Love visiting with them. I held out one of the great stories that he has for maybe his next visit. Yeah,
I felt like I was at their house with them almost. Like I could see myself in every room hanging out with his daughter and his family. I really felt like part of the action over there.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He's a treasure, and she's a treasure. I mean, they really are good folks.
Fun.
And doing fun stuff. The guy's a legend. There it is, mm-hmm. Chris. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Cheyenne is on Chuck and Amy's Facebook Live streams, Cheyenne says. Yeah. And Deirdre says, I love the vintage Christmas ornament heads. Yeah. I mean, they do, she's really gifted, I think, as a doll maker. And Tony will take care of all the hot links. So you'll be able to reach them and be part of that if you want to on Friday.
Thanks, Tony.
So, news capsule, and then Karen Dawn joins. Smash the like button if you would. Excited that you're all here. Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
It was great. I loved it.
How would you handle this? We could try ignoring it, sir.
Morning.
You cannot say you love your country.
Where are my weed smokers at?
Stay at home and get baked.
On the Mark Thompson Show, I'm Kim McAllister. Of course, as we mentioned earlier, former First Lady Rosalyn Carter is dead at the age of 96. The wife of the nation's 39th president passed away Sunday at her home in Georgia. She married Jimmy Carter in 1946. They were married for 77 years. Israeli forces continue to expand their assault in northern Gaza as the country's war with Hamas continues. This after intense fighting happened around another hospital Sunday. According to word from Hamas, about 30 premature babies had to be evacuated from that hospital. Hundreds of staff and patients remain inside. There is a new poll that gives former President Trump a slight lead over President Biden in the race for the White House. This is a Harvard Capps Harris poll. It shows Trump with 48% support compared to Biden's 41%. Recent polls have shown Trump outperforming Biden in a handful of critical battleground states. Speaking of Trump, the hearing about a gag order involving one of the former president's federal cases is over. The limited gag order from the judge in his 2020 election subversion case was frozen until the three-judge panel considered how to balance Trump free speech rights. Prosecutors claim the order is necessary to protect witnesses, prosecutors, and court personnel from intimidation. In Los Angeles, the I-10 freeway back open. Officials are looking into the cause of the fire that shut down that stretch of road that handles about 300,000 vehicles a day. They're looking for a person of interest in the case, but again, I-10 back open weeks, if not months earlier than was expected. Hundreds of OpenAI staffers are calling for the resignation of the ChatGPT company board, and they are also threatening to quit after a weekend that started with the surprise ouster of CEO Sam Altman and then ended with Altman being hired by Microsoft instead. CNN says more than 500 employees accused the OpenAI board of mishandling Altman's firings, failing to provide any evidence or sufficient evidence for claims that Altman wasn't candid with the board and negotiating in bad faith with the company's executive leadership. So OpenAI may be in a world of hurt with many of their staffers just checking out and leaving altogether. Of course, we knew that Snoop Dogg was giving up the weed. Or is he giving up the weed? No, he's not. It was all a PR stunt. Everybody called it.
Where are my weed smokers at?
No.
The rapper, known for his love of cannabis, posted a video today announcing his partnership with Solo Stove. That is a smokeless fire pit brand. This comes after Snoop posted late last week that he was giving up smoke and asked fans to respect his privacy. He didn't say what kind of smoke. Right? Yeah, that's right.
I see.
The rapper will serve as the official spokesman for the brand.
I get it.
Mm-hmm. Get it?
I get it.
Solo Stove.
No, I do get it. I get it.
They're Solo Stovin with the Snoop Dogg. That's pretty a genius marketing plan, actually, I think.
He is a super marketing. I mean, this guy went from being a street rapper, in like legit rap battles, which were, associated with an underworld, to now a mainstream commercial product pitch man. I mean, it's amazing the journey that Snoop has taken.
Yeah. And now he's kind of pop culture icon,
Exactly. He's become completely mainstreamed.
Yeah. Shakira is settling her tax evasion lawsuit with Spanish authorities. She's been in some trouble there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was charged with tax evasion and facing all kinds of trouble. Well, the Colombian superstar will now avoid a trial that was due to start today. She admitted to the charges against her and will pay the amount in full plus an additional fine. According to a statement from the Barcelona prosecutor's office, it totals about $30 million. That's a lot of smackaroos.
Yeah, she probably has that honor, though. She's done pretty well.
She has that honor. Pardon me. Let me get my wallet.
Yeah.
Hold my bag.
What did you say you needed? 30? Okay, here's $29.5. Can I owe you the rest?
I will tell you that something horrible happened over the weekend with Taylor Swift. Her Eras tour is back on in Brazil after a fan died at her concert on Friday night. Apparently, the young woman's official cause of death hasn't been announced, but videos of the concert show Swift saying people needed water there. It was really, really hot that night.
Super hot. Yeah.
Temperature soared to 102 degrees during the concert with humidity of 70% factored in. They said it felt like it was 140 degrees in that show. And so this woman has died. The official cause of death is unknown, but it could have something to do with heat exhaustion or something heat related. So kind of a sad situation. That's it. This report is sponsored by Tenuta Vineyards. I'm trying to sell you something else today on the Mark Thompson Show.
Yeah.
Tenuta Vineyards, amazing wine. I love this one. This is the Why Are You Yelling Red?
Of course.
Why are you yelling?
The Mark Thompson Why Are You Yelling Red? Really,
Right.
really good wine. We love Tenuta. They have 28 varietals there, 14
Many,
reds
yeah,
and
many
14
others.
whites. If you
Right.
head out to the winery, go ahead and taste it and get your 10% off of whatever you take home. You can call them, though, and say, smash it with your iron rod.
Smash it with your iron rod.
And get your 10% off. So if you're ordering wine for your holiday table or for gifts, it's the Hey, which one of you is Mark Thompson Pinot Grigio?
Oh, yeah.
Why Are You Yelling Red?
That's a fine choice, too.
Okay,
Yeah.
which one do you use, Mark Thompson?
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And you get your 10% off, but you have to call them 925-699-4576 and you tell Rich over at Tenuta, smash it with your iron rod. Get your 10% off. I'm Kim McAllister. This is the Mark Thompson Show. Yes, it is.
The Mark Thompson Show.
This is Mark Thompson.
Smash it with your iron rod.
Thank you so much.
This thing is ready to pop, people.
And
I wanted to apologize to the Asian community, the Asian American community.
I stand corrected.
You, sir, are a liar. Liar, liar, your pants are on fire!
Let me kick down the door and talk to my cheap sons and daughters.
We have processes and protocols and standards.
Dr. Emil Schaffhausen, Sassert.
Seriously, what the?
What can you tell us about the scene?
I don't think you should apologize for how you feel. This is a man with anger. This is a man that has resentment towards you.
You know what, Hal? You created havoc and chaos.
Can you let him finish, sir?
Sayonara, sucker!
We are always excited to have you join us, however you join us. If you join us via podcast, I think Tony will have the podcast up promptly today. Sometimes days we have to deal with other commitments that Tony has, that Albert has, and it takes a few hours or whatever it is. But I think this week everything's going to be right on time, right, Tony? Yeah, it's cool. Last thing, and then I want to get to Karen. I wanted to mention that this is a major story in the world of cannabis, and you'll note we advertise it on
Where are my weed smokers at?
This isn't about just smoking the weed. There's a major. What happens in California on cannabis is they grow it, and then there's a major distributor that has to be in the middle between the grow and the retail outlets. Okay, so it's legal, but part of the regulation, the way we do it in California, is there has to be this distributor, and the distributor has to, answer to all these regulations and various things. And this is one of the largest distribution companies called Herbl, Herbl, and the company is saying that they can't stay in business. They've completely collapsed. Yep. Herbl's failure is expected, and this is another reason I mention it. I think there are a couple of different aspects to the story, but one of them is that the ripple effect will affect a lot of small pot brands and is going to short the state about $17 million in unpaid taxes. I mean, once the company goes away, right, you don't have that. The tax bill goes away too. The California state law requires distributor companies to work as middlemen between pot producers and retailers, as I was saying. Herbl's demise has become a giant flashing red warning sign, they say, because of the vital role distributors play in California's market. If a company is as large and entrenched as Herbl, and it can still go under, experts say that there are deep problems in the industry that are only going to lead to more failures. And this speaks, and we'll talk about this again in the days ahead, this speaks to the burdens that we put on from a regulatory standpoint. And Randy says, California managed to screw up the legal weed business in the state. Go figure. Yeah. Observers in the industry say that the demise shows how cannabis companies in California are forced to abide by a more difficult set of rules than other industries. They also say that if Herbl were a different type of company, the state government would have stepped in to save it. I mean, I think these are legitimate questions to ask. So as this huge cannabis company fails, one has to ask the question. Some of these questions are being asked in the chat. How much we tax, the demand that we put as a state on knowing the provenance, and there's a tremendous amount of certification and registration that's associated with the cannabis industry, and it's forced this major distributor, Herbl, to go under. So again, they had huge contracts, exclusive distribution contracts, and now Herbl is gone, and that may cause much of the downstream retail world to be affected as well. So thought you should know it. It's a major story in California, and it may be a cautionary tale as well.
The Mark Thompson Show.
It is on Mondays. We like to check in on the world of animals in all the different ways that animals are a part of our lives. We do it with the founder of Dawn Watch, Karen Dawn. Hi, Karen.
Hello, hello, hello. Good to be with
you
on this Turkey Day week.
Yeah, you focus on so much, and it is, I guess, Turkey Day coming up, and it's called Turkey Day so often because people consume turkey traditionally, as part of Thanksgiving. You, of course, believe you don't touch any animal products because you're, a big animal advocate and activist. You do this thing. And it was.
I was just going to say, I've got my big bottle of wild turkey ready to plonk right in the middle of the table.
That's a good Turkey Day.
And I enjoy my turkey just as much as anybody listening.
You've been on news programs, though, across the nation for the fact that you usually adopt a turkey or actually have a turkey there around your Thanksgiving celebration, a live turkey I'm talking about, and you bathe it and, show it off. Yeah.
Yeah, for 10 years in a row, I did a turkey rescue. Which started, it's funny. I fell in love with turkeys a couple of decades ago, and the story on that was that I had just gotten into animal activism. Oh, let's not go with this yet. I'm dying. Can we play that at the end or not? Is that okay? If
I don't know. We'll sure we can. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I want to introduce it properly, if I may. But but thank you, Tony, for being on it. Give me a moment here. I was new into animal activism, and I was at a conference, and there was I'd never been to a farm animal sanctuary, and I went out to visit Poplar Spring. And I thought I was there to meet the pigs. I'd seen Babe, I'd read Charlotte's Web. I, like so many people, just thought pigs were the most interesting beings ever. But Terry started the tour of the farm animal sanctuary at the turkey pen. And I was sitting on the grass outside this pen, and Terry comes out, and she's ushering forward this little old turkey whose name is Olivia. And Mark, you've done me the favor of getting to not have to, tell people what happens to turkeys on these turkey farms. Because let's just say Olivia's hobbling towards me because her toes have been cut off on this farm. You said they cut their feet off. Well, it's only their toes. It's not that bad. So she hobbles towards us, and she's just, I hear about her story before she'd come to the sanctuary. And she comes close to me, and I can reach out and I touch her, and I start to stroke her little head, and she moves closer to me, and I put my hand up underneath her wings where all this soft down is. It's so soft, the stuff that's in pillows. She moves even closer, and I'm sitting cross-legged on the grass, and she moves into my lap, and I keep stroking her, and she falls asleep in my lap. And I fell in love. And that's the first turkey I ever met. So I adopted her in that I could sponsor her through Poplar Spring Animal Sanctuary for Thanksgiving. But a few years later, after my book came out, and I was doing a lot of media because that's what Dawn Watch does, I called up Carla Hall at the Los Angeles Times. And I said, Carla, I just want to have turkeys around me at Thanksgiving. If I were to bring some into my house, if one of the sanctuaries knew which activists happened to be driving behind a truck when, some turkeys fall off. Would the Los Angeles Times be interested in covering that? And she said, the photo department would love it. And so that was the very first turkey rescue, was in 2008. The photo department loved it so much that they put it on the cover of the California section, me with my 2 turkeys watching me lay the table. And ABC 7 News called, and they put it on that evening. And then for the next 10 years, I would bring turkeys into my home, sometimes through activists who had somehow come across them. Sometimes I bought them and I would pay for them per pound at a local place that would allow you to bring turkeys in. And people were always so amazed that when you give them love, they respond exactly as dogs and cats do to love. They let you pet them. I would keep them outside because they poop everywhere, because they don't have, it's not that they're stupid that they can't be house trained, it's that they don't have sphincters, because everything, the eggs and everything comes out the same place. So
well, I didn't know that. I don't know that I wanted to know that, but anyway, but no, it's fine. But let me ask you about something that came up earlier, which is, and I mentioned as an aside that there are no regulations or in any way animal humane codes of treatment for turkeys. None. So it's a weird thing.
There's no federal humane. That's what it is. The story is that and it is turkeys and chickens, as far as I know, it's not.
Oh, really? Okay.
But all poultry was exempt from the Federal Humane Slaughter Act, which is so crazy because it so happens that poultry is, I'm trying to remember if it's 95% or I think it might be 99% of all the animal slaughter in this country are exempt from the Humane Slaughter Act, the Federal Humane Slaughter Act. California has some protections put in place, but they don't work. In fact, the Washington Post put out an article a few years ago. They did an investigation, bless them, and found that approximately 1 million turkeys every year are boiled alive because in the slaughterhouses, they get strung up by their legs and these conveyor belts go along and they're supposed to dip their heads in this electrified water. But if they're struggling to get out, their heads don't go into the electrified water and their throats don't get slashed. So when they get to the defeathering tank, they're still alive and conscious. And so now they say that happens to about 1 million a year. So what happens to turkeys is awful, which is now, and I know you don't want this to be horrifying. So now I'm going to ask Tony if we can play that video.
Well, okay. I was going to. Okay.
And what the video is,
I've lost control of this entire segment.
Can we use the music? Yeah. Can we use the music?
I don't know, Tony. It came from I don't know.
Adobe.
I've totally lost control here, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah.
Is it? I mean, I would say, is it like licensed music or no?
No,
it came from Adobe. When you make a video, you can just chuck that music on. They say you can use it everywhere. You can upload it to YouTube. So I think we're good.
Yeah.
And I would love to share it with the bluesy jazz with everybody. And this is the Dawn Watch Guide to the animal friendly guide.
And then I really wanted to ask what the alternatives are to turkey, which was asked in the third. But let's do this first, then we'll ask that, and then we got it.
This is the Dawn Watch style of doing turkey. Can we have the music on, or is it playing and I can't hear it?
It's playing. It's playing. Yeah.
Okay. So for those not watching, we wash the turkey, and then we show me blow. We have dry well as the second step, and they show me blow drying these beautiful turkeys who would come to me as filthy messes. Then we stuff the turkey, and I suggest that we use a festive squash and bead stuffing, and you show the turkey gobbling it up. And then we add a little water, which means we give the turkey a little drink. We bake the turkey at about 68 degrees out in the sunshine, and there's the pit bullets there. And then the last thing is we share with guests. And for Dawn Watch, that was all the members of the major media who would invite to come and film the turkey rescue. And that was our way of celebrating Turkey Day every year. So I wanted to share.
It really is cute, and it got the word out. Tell me what the alternatives are to turkey. Like, what does your vegan Thanksgiving look like? What do you serve then?
Well, I was quite serious about our centerpiece is the wild turkey bourbon, but because you got to have turkey in the middle of the table. But it's funny. I think I sent you a quote from Campbell's that says that they were looking into people's favorite sides, and they found out that 67% of people actually prefer all of the sides. There we go. Do you want to read that, Mark? Because
according to Campbell's, consumer data show that 67% of Americans prefer the side dishes compared to main entrees when it comes to Thanksgiving dinner, with 54% of the country noting that they'd be content with only eating the sides. So 67% prefer the sides. 54% say, just give me the sides. I don't need any of this turkey stuff.
And as you know, I am not telling anybody what they should eat and that they shouldn't eat turkey on Thanksgiving. People do whatever agrees with them. But I would say that if you've got folks who are eating a lot less meat or eating almost no meat, which is becoming pretty common in climate change, animal welfare, all of these things, people often tend to make the exception. You have to eat turkey on Thanksgiving. So I would say, well, you don't. You can celebrate them by, whether it be wild turkey, whether it be enjoying the sides that everybody seems to like better anyway. So when you say what are the alternatives, at a vegan Thanksgiving, we do all the beautiful sweet potatoes and the green bean stuff, and I'll make a stuffing, but we just don't have the
Sure. I mean, and now it's so much easier. You can make a vegan quiche. You can make a vegan whatever. I mean, it's because all the substitutes are there. So I love that you point this out. I love that you brought so much attention to it through the years. Again,
they're just fun animals.
Before
I go,
Mark,
I want to get a chance to just mention, that we had a lovely conversation a couple of weeks ago now about how much people love their pets, usually cats and dogs, that is, not usually turkeys, but they count too. I just wanted to mention that the New York Times this weekend on Sunday had the most wonderful article, which was headed, if your significant other has 4 feet and fur, I think it was called. And it is such a lovely article. And I have sent over a gift link to that because it's behind a paywall in the New York Times. And I've asked Tony if he can put that in the comments, because I just know that people who love their animals as dearly as we were talking about, and as a lot of your folks were commenting on, will really love that article. So I wanted to mention that. And to round off, I'll just say, turkeys can go in there too.
Awesome. So that'll be that link will be in the description of this show on YouTube. Karen, thank you. Wish you the very best for the holiday, and we will see you back here next week. Thank you. Karen Dawn, everybody. Love it. Love it. Love it.
The Mark Thompson Show.
A lot there. A lot there. Yeah. We've done a lot today, Kim.
We have.
We really have done a lot. Tony, what is the problem?
Nothing.
Okay.
Just hanging out. Yeah. What's up, Tony?
We started wrong-footed, Tony. I feel I've got off on the wrong foot.
Thanks, Tony.
We fell
but I don't know why we got off on the wrong foot.
Well, Tony, what angered you?
I just think that we did, and I can't help it. So, look, we have one show. We have 2 shows before Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Thursday's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Wednesday, Kim is here by herself.
Oh.
Because I'll be on KFI Radio.
Yeah.
Isn't that? I think that's Wednesday.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
And then we slide into the Christmas season, and so I have to get with the merch people, see if we can do some merch stuff. I'm going to meet with Tony after the show, and there will be a conversation about the technical stuff. We're going to get that all smoothed out. There'll be some shouting.
We have some people to thank, too.
And thank you, because I need to thank someone. Pamela Kirby, thanks, Cliff, for making great coffee, taking care of the growers, and standing firm on the price and the quality of the beans. We acknowledged her earlier, but big shout out again.
Big shout out
to Pamela Kirby. Tracy Pyers, thanks for all of you. How about a 10 spot?
Yeah. Big shout out.
Big shout out from Tracy. Thank you, Tracy. Pink with $1 a day.
Big shout out.
Yeah.
Our audience is pretty damn great.
Yeah, it is.
Pretty damn great. I'm looking forward to finding new ways to interact with the audience in the new year. In fact, the new year on this show is going to bring some changes.
Uh-oh.
Tony's going to work out this technical part. Yeah. And we'll get everything going. But I do want to mention that this show is available across all the podcast platforms. Check it out there. You can listen to the conversation with Chuck Negron if you just joined us. Chuck was in the original Three Dog Night member. And again, hot links to Chuck's stuff, to his wife Amy's stuff, to Karen Dawn's stuff. All of that stuff will populate our YouTube description. So there's a lot. There's an on-screen VU meter to monitor incoming YouTube stream. No, that's a note for Tony. So
I'm Shadow Stevens for the Mark Thompson Show. Bye-bye.
The truth is that Tony's built radio stations.
Out of time. Bye-bye.
He can figure this out. The After Party Live is going down now. Until tomorrow. Bye-bye.